Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
Welcome everyone to the BX Sports Jedi MMA Weekly of Austin and Chef Dan. I am Austin. This is my co-host Chef Dan. How you doing tonight, Chef Dan?
Salute to you, Austin. Salute to everyone in the chat. Salute to everyone joining us, whether that be on YouTube or in podcast platforms. You know, Google, Apple, Spreaker, Spotify, wherever you're joining us. Thank you so much. I am doing well, man. Coming off of a really, really, really good event, man. We got to get into it.
Great event.
It was a great event. Great event.
Yeah,
we got to get right into it.
I'm doing all right. And before we get into it, thank you guys for listening and watching us on podcast platforms or watching us on YouTube where we live or afterwards. Appreciate the love and support. But yeah, great event. I mean, in my opinion, so far this year, pay-per-view of the year so far. Now, obviously, we got half the year left. Let's see what this next pay-per-view does. So, in my opinion, it's this pay-per-view of the year so far.
Look, all right. If you're using that technicality, I have to say, pay-per-view of the year, I agree with you. Now, is it card of the year?
It's debatable. Is that or London? London. I know London.
To me, London is still better than this one, only because it wasn't on pay-per-view. I don't know.
It's tough. It's a tough one. It's either this or London so far. It seems like event of the year so far in UFC so far. But like I said, we still got half the year left. Let's see what pay-per-view wise UFC 276 does, because that's a very stacked pay-per-view. But yeah, let's recap 275, because this pay-per-view, my goodness, was ridiculous. I mean, you want to start the main event or go first fight the main card main event?
We get right into the main event, because this, I disagreed with you at first, but I was fronting, Austin. I was fronting. This is potential fight of the year.
Yes. I mean, and the main event was the light heavyweight championship between Jiri Prochazka and champion Glover Teixeira. And Jiri Prochazka defeats Glover Teixeira, submits him in 4 minutes and 32 seconds in the 5th round to become your new UFC light heavyweight champion. The first fighter from the Czech Republic to become UFC champion. And this fight was ridiculous. I mean, it was. Both guys were hurt. Both guys were submission attempts. I mean, this was back and forth, crazy action. I mean, my gosh. I mean, both guys show heart. Both guys' chins were tested. Both guys had tough chins. Both guys were in submission positions, but got out of it. I mean, both were arm triangles, and like, third and fourth round, and I think Glover in the third round, Glover third round, Yuri in the fourth round, both got out of it obviously, and Yuri definitely I'm trying to say Yuri fought his typical fight, very crazy, chaotic, but Glover was able to hang on for a while and was able to hurt Yuri a lot of times and rival him, take him down at first, and was able to hold him down for a while. But Yuri reversed position, showed his improvement in his grappling game. It would get out some of those positions Glover put him in, especially later on, the later takedowns. And this fight was just action-packed, crazy, one of the greatest title fights in UFC history, one of the greatest fights in light heavyweight history, which is saying something because it's the same division, given that John Jones Gustafsson won, Shogun Anderson won. And this was just, damn, man. The people in Singapore were very blessed that night to see that live. This is something they're going to be talking about for a long time. Glover, there's one submission arm triangles in the fourth round that Glover's put on Yuri, in the picture on screen. Yuri bleeding, considering he had a nasty cut that's on his right eye. No, his left. His left eye. Yeah, nasty.
His left eye. Yep.
A very nasty cut that I was worried might get stopped. The cut might cause the fight to be stopped because how bad it was. And also Glover's nose got busted. I think the top got cut up. Top of his nose. It's hard to tell in that picture. You see Glover throwing an elbow on top of Yuri, but Glover's nose.
No, his nose looks broken. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but his nose looks broken.
It does. But there's also a cut too that it's hard to see. But his nose definitely looks broken. Yuri did broke his nose in that fight, and then a knee landing on. Oh, there's the cut. You can see the cut better in this picture on Glover's nose, and you see that cut in Yuri's eye too. They both beat the heck out of each other. They both went to the hospital. They were like modern day gladiators out there, just beating each other up for entertainment. And the fifth, I had a 3-1 Glover, but after rewatching it, because I watched the fight again right before the show, and I had 3-1 Glover going the fifth round, and Glover, hurt really early with a combination, and then went for the guillotine, which was a mistake, and going for that guillotine, considering how hurt Yuri was, and then Yuri. I don't know. At the time, I thought it was a mistake for Yuri to let Glover back up after being on top of him, after going for the guillotine. And then Yuri got rocked again. Glover took him down, but Yuri was able to reverse position and then getting that rear naked choke with less than a minute left, 30 seconds left. 30 seconds left. Yeah, 30 seconds. I thought I said 30 minutes on accident. But yeah, 30 seconds left and be able to submit Glover Teixeira in a crazy, epic Hall of Fame fight. That's a fight going to Hall of Fame for sure, UFC Hall of Fame. And one of the best title fights I've ever seen. I could talk for a while, but I want to let Chef Dan talk because I know he has a lot to say.
You kind of took all of it away. This was a crazy fight. This was one of the best fights in history. If God willing, that UFC sometime down the line, they're able to put this fight out for free for you guys to watch it on YouTube. Please, I wouldn't mind. There's a couple of fights that, if they're on YouTube and you can rewatch them, I wouldn't mind rewatching it with you guys live on stream, just so you guys can see what we're seeing and have a fun time rewatching some of these classic fights, because this is El Clasico right here. This is a classic. It's like anything made between 87 and 97. That's a Chevrolet, a Benz, or a BMW. It's classic. It's classic. It's just classic. It was just beautiful. Man, I don't know what rounds you scored or I scored, but I did know. I'm going to tell you this. The last impression I had before the finish was that Glover Teixeira was winning this fight. I thought the only thing Glover had to do was beat the clock going into the 5th round. It was Glover's fight all the way. And then when he came out and landed the body shots, and I think it was either a right hook on Jiri that wobbled him, it was like, whoa, Glover is different. He's coming to finish. And that was a good look. And all he had to do was rock him, get him in and I know people at the moment were upset for Glover going into the guillotine. But that's Glover 101 right there. If he rocks you, he's going to go into the submission, because 9 times out of 10, he could scramble some way in the midst of you two, scrambling and being tired. If he winds up on top, man, that's the round for Glover right there. And he tried to go for the guillotine, and Jiri, I don't know if that's part game plan or part him being, just being lucky in the moment. He falls forward and slips his head out and lands on top of Glover. And so now he's trying to recoup and find his way. I know a lot of people were upset with Jiri deciding to get back up on the feet, but I mean, watching this fight into the 5th round, watching it, I thought you and I were both right in our assessments last week about this fight. I thought Jiri looked so good on his feet. There were moments where he upset me, where I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm watching the fight and I'm watching Jiri do things as he's bouncing around. I'm like, yo, what is light heavyweight Pereira doing in the ring right now? Because it felt like that. Right. And it really felt like what is light heavyweight Michel Pereira doing in the ring right now? You have these opportunities. For as classic as the fight is, there are still flaws within both of these gentlemen that show that there's growth for both of them, which is why this fight is so good. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I'm singing his praises, but it took until the 3rd round for Jiri Prochazka to land a body shot on Glover Teixeira. It took until the 3rd round for him to attempt the body shot, and when he landed the body shot, it changed the complexity of this. It changed the complexion of this fight. So there are things that Jiri Prochazka definitely needs to do to grow more as a competitor. And it's scary that you say that as a guy who's a champion, because it can go either one of two ways. One, that he doesn't grow, and that's the guy that you get. And as the competition grows and they're watching the tape of this guy, because the tape is going to, if the tape stays consistent, someone's going to find a hole in the game plan. But the other part, which is also scarier, is you have someone akin to I'm going to say her name because she was on the card, Valentina Shevchenko, who is naturally growing as her career moves on. And so that's scary. It can be scary on either ways, but man, Jiri Prochazka, that was a great fight for him. He still has he still has room for improvement though. So that's the scary part. And Glover Teixeira, man, it was literally, he looked so good, and it was a game of inches.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you could say. And I know a lot of the judges' scorecards didn't come out, and they couldn't have judged the 5th round because the 5th round ended the way it did. But if you showed me a card where someone had Jiri Prochazka winning into the 5th round, I would say that they didn't know what they were judging. But if all 3 judges had Glover Teixeira winning, I would be like, yeah, we all watched the same fight, because Glover was winning this fight. And man, I know Jiri has potentially asked for Jan Blachowicz next, but you can't deny Glover a rematch.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Glover, this fight was so damn good that you have to run it back. I know Glover didn't defend the belt. This is his first title defense, but the fight was so damn good that you kind of have to. It's an appetite for a rematch. I think a lot of people wouldn't mind a rematch between these two because how good it was. It was that damn good. I mean, I'm with you. I know this Jan Blachowicz was also, there's a Wonder Ankalaev, Anthony Smith in July, the Nunes Pena card as well. So that's why I was gonna say, I think that's why a rematch there's a possibility for a rematch because it's not settled who's the next contender for the lightweight championship as well.
Austin, I'll say this as well, man. This is, I know you're not saying this, but this is a case that I think, you know, business-wise, you could make this decision as far as business-wise. Jiri and Glover put on such a good fight, and we just saw what happens when you put a rematch of a great fight together. It's not saying that that result between, we're going to talk about it later on down the card, that other fight that was a rematch on the card. You're not going to, you 9 times out of 10, you aren't going to get that. But the anticipation for a rematch, it'll sell more.
Yes.
It will sell more than a guy in Yan who, I'm not even gonna lie, you said it, like you said, Yan didn't get to rematch for the belt. But we didn't technically want to see the rematch because Yan got dominated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yan got dominated.
Yeah,
versus this, I mean, and then on top of that, Yan got dominated by Glover, and then the Ankalaev fight, like, excuse me, not the Ankalaev fight, the Rakic fight. He didn't finish Rakic. Rakic got hurt via freak injury. Like, you've gotten a victory since you've lost the title, but was it really a victory?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Yan did okay. It wasn't like he was getting dominant in that fight and the injury came, but Rakic was doing well in that fight, and then he got injured. That's what happened. Yeah, that's a good point. And then go ahead.
But then on top of that, it's like, I can potentially say that, you know, I can let both of these guys recuperate, let Smith and Ankalaev have their bout, and if that bout looks really, really good, I don't see a reason to not have that winner face Yan for #1 contendership, because in actuality, I know that the rankings haven't come out yet. They're gonna update literally tomorrow. Yan is gonna be the #2 ranked light heavyweight.
Yeah.
Glover is the #1 contender.
Yeah. Good point.
And Yan didn't do anything. Yan hasn't in the last couple of months discouraged me to say Glover should have no reason to run that back.
Right. And I mean, and also the Justice Smith and Ankalaev fight that's gonna happen late July is that unless one of them just has a ridiculously impressive performance, I mean, like a first round KO domination, I mean, they're gonna have to really impress us to really get us clamoring for to see them versus Jiri, not Glover, excuse me, Jiri.
I'm gonna tell you like this, man. If that person, whoever out of that fight, if they get a dominant KO, like you said, it just worsens the case for Yan. Because you're just man in the middle that hasn't done that. On one side of you is a championship fight that was a classic fight. On the other side is an up-and-comer that just had an impressive KO, whether that be Ankalaev or Smith. And Smith just had an impressive KO over Ryan Spann, who was a great up-and-comer. And we just saw what Ryan Spann did to Ian Cutelaba. Like, you're stuck in you're really stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And if Smith and Ankalaev, the winner of that fight, don't get an impressive victory or dominant victory, it hurts their chances too, because then it opens the door for the rematch. It also depends how long both guys are going to take to recover, because they both took a lot of damage, both of them. If you go on the internet, type like Jiri and Glover, they took a picture of each other afterwards, after the fight, I guess near the airport outside the hospital, and they were. Yeah. You can tell they both got beat up in that fight.
They both got beat up. They went to war. And I'm just going to say this, regardless of how that fight goes between Ankalaev and Smith, it doesn't help Jan Blachowicz' case, because let's say it is a boring fight. Let's say it's a 5-rounder that ends, dully, or wait, is it a 3-rounder or 5?
3-rounder. 3-rounder. It's on the
3-rounder.
pay-per-view card of Nunez Pena.
Dude, bro. If that 3 rounds against 2 guys that can go 5 rounds, it's gonna be more impressive because they have more of a gas tank.
Possibly, yeah.
But let's say, look,
a lot of his recent performances hasn't exactly, looked very well. His recent performances, not overall, just like the last 2 fights.
yeah, but Anthony Smith has, and Anthony Smith on his end is gonna bring it. So he's gonna, that's naturally gonna change the landscape of the fight. All I'm saying is, if it goes 3 rounds, like you said, and it's highly technical and things of that nature, dude, I don't see anything stopping from either one of those guys saying, they grabbing the mic and going, we know Glover's getting a rematch because that was a classic fight. They got unfinished business. I want Jan Blachowicz next because he didn't even finish his fight.
Right. Boom, yeah, and then more contender fight, yeah. Exactly. It depends, like, how long both guys are going to be out, Glover and Jan. I mean, not Jan, Jiri. And because they both took a lot of damage. And can we also give credit Glover, considering Glover's 42? I think he's about to turn 43, or this year or next year. I forget. He was born either 1981 or 1980. I forget which year he was born. He's in his early 40s, and he's still taking that damage and competing at a high level against a guy in Yuri's like 29, I believe, which is just ridiculous. That Glover Teixeira at his age, old man Glover, is able to go out there and compete with these young guys, hold his own, and almost win the fight and do well. I mean, that alone deserves a tip of the hat to Glover for that, and Yuri. I mean, that's something I don't think enough people are talking about. Is the fact that old Glover is, and he's still putting on great fights like that, and holding his own against a younger guy, Jiri Prochazka, who's in his athletic prime. It's just, I mean, if Glover's not a Hall of Famer in your eyes, this fight, he's a Hall of Famer after this fight. He was after he won the title, but this is just cherry on top. Like, it's like getting extra fries in the bag when you order fries. That's what that is for Glover.
Nah, it's like getting some onion rings while in the bag while you ordered some fries. So they gave you a full bag of fries, and some onion rings happen to find their way in there, and a chicken nugget.
That's true, yeah. For Glover, yeah, in his career, yep. That's what this fight was for Glover Teixeira. And Jiri Prochazka, I mean, the first guy from the Czech Republic to become a UFC champion. It's a big deal. I'm actually saw the footage when we returned home to the Czech Republic, how the crowd reaction, like, I forget which town. Was that Prague or his hometown? I forget his hometown's name. There's like 7,000 people there.
Yeah. Now, I don't know how to pronounce it because it, like, bro, it had 4 consonants and 1 vowel, and the vowel wasn't anywhere near where some of the consonants I'm used to, or you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna butcher it. Let me not even do it.
Yeah, it's somewhere. Like, I know the capital's Prague, but I only was in Prague. I think it might be his hometown. I forget what his hometown name is. But 7,000 people just giving the heroes welcome. Kind of felt like when Jan Blachowicz won the title, and like he went back to Poland, the crowd they actually got to the airport. It kind of felt like that for Jiri Prochazka. It's cool seeing his love in his home, love in his home country. He basically became a celebrity over there, rightfully so. And also, go ahead. You were gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna say it just shows. It goes to show how global the UFC truly is, and man, for as divisive as a figure Dana White is, the UFC, oddly enough, it unites the world.
It does, yeah. You're absolutely right.
Because, like, when I see all these fighters coming from different parts of the world, I don't see them and think any less of their part of the world or any less of them. If anything, I grow in admiration for every new part of the world where I find out a fighter's from. And it's like, it's interesting, and it's really it's just fun when you learn different parts of the world, and you learn what some people are going through in their parts of the world. Granted, some fighters are, they're not the norm in their part of the world. They, so every fighter is a special, like, in order to be a fighter, a professional fighter, it takes a different breed of person. But when you find out the environment that they're raised in, and when you just at least start to learn where they come from, you become appreciative of, that part of the world, and you even start to, in retrospect, you look at where you're from in a different light. So it's very fun. UFC it unites the world in a funny way, but it does the job.
You're absolutely right. That's a great point. That's a very excellent point there. That is so true. That the UFC, mixed martial arts, be one or Bellator, but UFC especially, it unites the world. Seeing guys from around the world fight each other, places you never heard of, places you're not too familiar with. See them, their success, and you see what happens when they reach the top, and see how it is over there in their nation or their country or their city when they win a title, how it does for them. It's kind of like also Glover won his belts. He lives in Connecticut. And I know he got the keys to the city in Connecticut. I forget which town Connecticut was. But Danbury, here we go. In Danbury, a lot of people show up to congratulate him and give him the hero's welcome in Danbury. Like I said, he got the keys to the city. It was great. He got that as well, which was very cool. And obviously, he went back to Brazil. They were obviously going nuts for him up down there.
And to another point of that in uniting the world, when they go to different venues, I'm looking at the crowd to see, all right, how excited are you along with me for this event? Based on that, we're all going to join together and watch together and have a fun time. So that's what the UFC does, man. Like and just, in talking about the crowds, just really quick, Singapore had a great crowd. Yeah.
I'm not surprised. They're used to Hello MMA. They won championships based in Singapore. One has a lot of events in that same arena as well. So they're used to like MMA and especially good MMA, which one championship does have. It does have some really good fighters over there. So they're used to it. They're used to like MMA. They know what MMA is. They know what they're watching, etc. And also, it's been a while since the UFC's been there. I realized this was not the first time UFC had been there. It was at the first pay-per-view in Singapore. UFC went there. It's been like a couple of years since the UFC went there. I want to say like 3 years since then, or 4 years, something like that. So UFC's been in Singapore, and like I said, they're used to MMA with one championship. So the crowd definitely knew what they're watching. The crowd was great too. Very good crowd in Singapore. They were really into the fight, especially the main event, which I don't know how you cannot be in the main event. The main event was crazy.
And I have to, did you hear any booing at any point?
I don't recall.
I don't recall any booing. And then I have to also just check the.
I think Asia. It's rare they boo in Asia, unless it's something really bad, really bad. In Asia. I'm just because I'm looking at the
card. A lot of the main card ended in a finish. There's only one fight that went to decision, so they couldn't have booed. Everything was action packed. It was fun.
Exactly. Great crowd too. There's a lot of Australian love for some of the Australian fighters. Like I know Robert Whitaker was supposed to win his card. You also had Jake Matthews and Jack Della Maddalena, which we'll talk about later. Those two fights were there as well. I think Australia is not far from Singapore. I don't know how close it is, but there was some love for the Australian fighters there as well. I've noticed.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about we're definitely going to talk about Jack Della Maddalena pretty soon. But we have to move on, man, from this fight. This is a great fight. This is
more I can say. Yes, it was a great fight. There's more I can say, but Dan's right. We have to move on for the sake of the show. I mean, I do want to do what you said. Like when this fight becomes free on YouTube, we can do a stream. We watch this together, or watch like classic fights together and see our reaction. Because I would like to do that.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we gotta Austin after this show. We're gonna set up a schedule because there's gonna be some free time. I want to do that at least, sometime. Well, not this week, but pretty soon, ladies and gentlemen. Join us on the BX Sports Jedi Network on YouTube, where we're gonna cast and we're gonna figure this out. Where we're gonna watch a fight and break it down and see what we're seeing. You guys are gonna see what we're seeing, and hopefully you guys could point something out to us as well.
Yeah, definitely watch a classic. But yeah, but we can move on to the next fight in the card, which was a co-main event, which was for the women's flyweight title, seeing Valentina Shevchenko, the champion, and challenger Taila Santos. And Valentina Shevchenko wins this fight via split decision, 48-47, 47-48, going to Santos, and 49-46 going to Valentina, as she retains her flyweight championship, and I believe her 7th title defense or 8th. No, 7th. I think this is her 7th title defense. Yep, her 7th title defense. And this fight was controversial. A lot of people thought Taila won this fight. I know Bisping thought that Taila was winning DC, but I personally think the right woman won. I think 48-47 is the right scorecard to me, because I feel like Valentina did more damage in this fight than Taila. I feel like in terms of 2, 4, and 5, where 1 and 3, I think Taila won because of in my opinion, because of the submission attempt she went for. And I know Taila did take her down in the second round, but Valentina was like throwing a lot of shots like this off her back and was actually connecting with Taila to the point where Taila let go of submission because the punches were affecting her. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I gave Valentina the second round, because I feel like the striking neutralized her submission attempt and Valentina did more damage. And rounds 4 and 5, Valentina did more damage. I know there was the headbutts where they heads clash. No, not headbutts. Excuse me, head clashes. Where the heads clashes and Talia's eye got messed up, her right eye, and affected her. But I think at the end, it somewhat affected her. But at the same time, I feel like when the fight was standing, Taila didn't have a lot of answers for Valentina, and Valentina was doing very well. So I mean, I don't think it affected too much in that fight, the headbutts, and plus, or head clashes rather, not headbutt. But you get what I mean.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, and like, what else was gonna bring up? I forgot. Shoot, I had something else I was gonna mention about this fight. Shoot, it was something to do with I don't. Oh, the headbutt. Part of it was Taila kind of leaned in a lot. When she drew shots, she kind of leaned her head a lot, and that's what caused the head clash. I thought that's something, if you're Taila, if you do get a rematch or when you do fight, something you might work on. It's not leaning your head forward as much, because that's what really caused the head clash. The affect her eye was that, personally. But yeah, this was a good fight. Back and forth. There was some drama. Taila was very strong. She showcased her strength by taking down Valentina and using her strength to outmuscle her in the grappling exchanges, which is something Jessica Andrade didn't do. We know how strong Andrade is. That really shows how, her strength with Taila and how good, she's very good, solid on the ground, very good grappler. And Valentina showcased her grappling skills by avoiding some of the submission attempts and even like throwing some shots while Taila had her back before Taila had stopped the submission. But a very good fight, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on this fight, Dan?
I'm in agreement with you 100%. I don't understand how they score grappling, because this was, ladies and gentlemen, give me one moment. I'm going to share a graphic on the screen real quick from my phone. Austin, I don't know if you could read that.
Rule of the octagon. Round 1 is 10 points. Opponents get 9 based on effective striking, grappling, standard aggression if needed, octagon control.
All right, so based on those criteria, right?
Yeah.
The last thing you look for is octagon control.
Right.
First thing you look for is effective striking and grappling. Then aggression. Right? Okay. Taila Santos had way more effective grappling than Valentina Shevchenko. She was effective in taking Valentina's back. She was effective in getting control time and going for submissions. But she threw no offense.
Yes.
Literally no offense. I know some people tried to attribute later on because of how like this was the lead, like this was the most lackluster fight of the night, and this wasn't even a lackluster fight to me.
Yeah, I agree.
This was not a lackluster fight at all. But of the night, this was the most lackluster fight because it was so technical, and you saw Valentina Shevchenko change the game plan in the midst of the fight. Taila Santos stayed consistent with her game plan, and it got her enough control time, but after that, she didn't mix anything up. So now when I'm looking at it, it's like, all right, Valentina had more effective striking. Yes, Taila had more effective grappling, but how many holds did she really hold Valentina in to where Valentina was in trouble? Because if I remember, it may be one in the third round, but then if you remember, Valentina gives the ref the thumbs up and then gets the arm out. And all throughout the night, she was hand fighting like a pro. Not only that, the eye started swelling after the first round. Literally in the midst of the first round, because Taila Santos took Valentina Shevchenko's back. She did, right? And she tried going for the rear naked chokes, but she didn't get any. But Valentina was able to strike from the back more times than Taila was even to throw while she had that opportunity. While you're in the midst of doing that, you have the opportunity to throw some punches in. She threw no offense in there as well. So now when I'm watching that first round, and I'm bothered that I agree with you. Taila Santos took that first round because she had effective. But then looking at the criteria, who was more aggressive that first round? Valentina.
Yeah.
Who had more effective striking? Valentina. She took more criteria than Taila Santos did. So am I even in agreement that Taila Santos took the round? There's a part of me that I'm bothered that I have to, that I somewhat agree that Taila Santos took the round, because I'm not even gonna lie, man. I would have to equate the grappling not getting locked in to a jab that doesn't land.
Yeah. That's a good analogy. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you're throwing it out there to make them work for something else. You have no serious intent with it. I mean, if you happen to land it, kudos to you. You're just throwing it out there. But you're really throwing it out there to get a reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, so now let me ask you, do you think the judges give points for the feints?
I don't
know.
think so.
It's strikes landed. Are we giving points to submissions attempted?
No. I mean, are we? I don't think we are.
But that's what we're doing because Taila Santos won the first round.
Yeah. Wait, I thought it was the second round Valentina did this. I could have sworn.
She was doing that from the first and the second round. That was what bothered me about Valentina's performance in the first the first two rounds, was because a lot of the times that she ended up with Taila Santos on her back, it wasn't because Taila Santos tripped her up. She maybe got a takedown really later on in the second half of the second round. But a lot of the Valentina's ended up on, a lot of the reason why Valentina ended up with her back being taken was because she tried taking down Taila, but Taila was game to it, or she just fell in the wrong way and Taila was able to slip out while Valentina was trying to get her bearings, and boom, she takes her back. That's Valentina either making a mistake or Taila was game. I'm not saying Taila wasn't a game opponent, but it's like, are we giving points to submissions attempted, or are we just going to give points to octagon control because that's the last thing we're going to give criteria to, even though Valentina in the midst of her, like, it's rare that from a bottom or back position that, from either the bottom position or someone having your back that you're able to have effective striking. There's rare moments that you have that. Like the only two times I've seen it happen was Tony Ferguson in a rare occasion and Kevin Holland at one time against Jacare.
Yeah. That's true, yeah.
I mean, I asked the question because it just, I don't know, man. But congratulations to Valentina Shevchenko. That's the bullet, ladies and gentlemen. She's not going nowhere anytime soon.
No, she's not. And you raised some good questions there, Dan. That's a lot of good questions that I think that definitely makes you asked a lot of good questions out there that definitely makes this one. Harry Cejudo in the background. I don't know what. I know. I think he was trying to fight her.
I don't know. He's
jokingly. Yeah.
He's cringe, man. He's cringe, man.
King of cringe. But yeah, in that picture we showed, Cejudo was in the background. I know there was a thing where both of them were like, jokingly about fighting each other. She was the best 125 pounder. There was that little thing for a little bit, like in a jokey way. But Cejudo. But yeah, I know why he's in the background. But yeah, he makes a lot of the questions you brought up are very good questions that I think are very. I think we all should definitely want to know the answers to, and maybe there is answers to those questions that I'm not aware of at the moment.
I think this is something where we gotta have like we're gonna do a live stream and invite some MMA heads and have this discussion. Like I would love to have one big old argument and then reference a whole bunch of fights and this argument go nowhere. Because we're not going to affect the judges and their, how they do their judging criteria. But I would love to discuss this with a bunch of fans and see where their heads are at.
Yeah, I think I saw a video break down the judging criteria of how the modern rules are. I saw a video, I forget who did it, MMA channel. They broke it down. I gotta rewatch it because I think they answered that question. Gotta rewatch it. But I saw it not that long ago. That video. If I remember it, I'll probably post a link of this video. I'll post in the comment section so people can watch it and see. But yeah, I mean, great victory for Valentina. Taila Santos. I'd like to see her maybe get win a fight or two and then get a rematch if Valentina's still champion because Taila Santos is definitely a legit contender in this weight class. I thought maybe it might be a little too soon for Taila potentially getting this title fight, but Taila showed she's game and that she just picked some holes. She can probably do better against Valentina. And Taila is still young. She's 28, 27, so she's definitely, got youth on her side. She's not there yet. Definitely improve and grow as a fighter. And for Valentina, you have her fight the winner of Kaylin Chookagian and Emeev in France. Well, when they fight in France, I should say, where wins that fight in France? Because Kaylin Chookagian, if she wins, it's 4 in a row since losing Valentina. And she's definitely done enough to warrant a rematch, considering she's won 4 in a row. She's a clear-cut number 1 contender. And Emeev wins. Fialho definitely makes a great case for Valentina, considering that invincibility that Valentina seems to have is a little bit shattered. Not totally shattered, but a little bit, considering how well Taila did, taking her down and some of the grappling exchanges. Do you agree with my assessment?
I agree 100%. That would be, if Valentina comes out of the matchup, yes, and she, to me, won rounds 4 and 5. She won rounds 4 and 5 convincingly to me. But that was dangerous. Those first 3 rounds were dangerous. And that's why a lot of people, part of it is the shock of how close Taila Santos was, that, she had Valentina in compromising positions where she could have effectively ended the fight early and walked out with the championship. So that's why it would be very interesting. But like you said, the aura around Valentina being super undefeatable and no one in the division having anything for her, that's been shaken up a little now.
Yep, definitely. And Totally. Yep. And anything else you want to say before we move on?
Not great fight by both ladies, and I can't wait to see Valentina in the ring again, man.
Yeah, same. Same with Taila Santos. Yeah, she bounces back. Where she bounces, wherever she fights, I definitely can't wait to see her as well. But totally agree with you there about Valentina. We can move on to the next fight, which was in the women's strawweight division between Zhang Weili and Joanna Jedrzejczyk. Rematch of their legendary fight from 2 years ago. And this fight, Zhang Weili wins via knockout in the second round, 2 minutes 20 seconds in the second round. Spinning back fist that knocks out Joanna Jedrzejczyk. As you see the picture of her hitting it, right around the neck and like the back of the ear, like she lands that, and which drops Joanna Jedrzejczyk, which is a very shocking visual because Joanna, she's been finished before but never knocked out cold. Like Rose finished her, but it was more like accumulation of shots. It wasn't like she got hit one shot and Rose knocked her out. It was more so accumulation of shots. There, just one shot and Joanna was out. And afterwards, Joanna Jedrzejczyk did retire from MMA, which we'll talk about after we break down the fights because that's obviously a big deal, Joanna retiring. And Zhang Weili showed her improvement in her wrestling game. She's been training with Henry Cejudo and used her wrestling. She's a strong woman. She's her strength. Was able to take down Joanna, do some brutal ground and pound, and give Joanna credit for surviving some of that ground and pound, and was able to survive some of those grappling exchanges, get up to her feet. And when the fight was standing, Joanna had her moments, especially early on that first round where she did a leg kick that dropped Zhang Weili. She was off balance. Even after Joanna got up from the ground and pound grappling exchanges, Joanna did land some shots, and even before she got knocked out, she was doing all right. She was landing a couple of shots here and there, some body kicks, some leg kicks. But Zhang Weili was also doing well stand up as well. She landed shots of her own, some power shots as well. Rocked Joanna at least once, I know that. And Joanna did stun Zhang Weili at least one time, I believe. I could be wrong about that. But Zhang Weili's wrestling really showed in that fight. She trained with Cejudo, she used it, and showed a new element to her game, which makes her a more dangerous fighter than she already was. What are your thoughts on this fight, Dan?
It's crazy. After watching this fight, I said maybe I was going to change my mind about how I do this on the show, and I didn't. So I let you break down the fight. I agree with you 100%. Zhang Weili definitely evolved. I'm not even going to lie, I shed a tear when Joanna told us that she was retiring, because it was like, aside from that spinning back fist, man, she's like all you see this resume, ladies and gentlemen,
right?
Like the title fight wins, the one of 13 undefeated champs, like the amount of significant strikes landed. It looked like she still had so much more to go, man.
She did. It seemed like she still, despite a 2-year layoff where she didn't really train a lot after the Weili fight in March 2020 as much. But, even though she was trained for like 4 months, she said, back in American Top Team. She still had it a little bit. Like, she still can hang with a lot of these girls at strawweight. That's what I saw, that she still hang with them and hold her own. But she mentioned she's been training for 20 years now almost, and she's 35 now. This woman wants to be a mom. She's been doing it for a while, and she feels like it's time to go. I mean, it's sad because Joanna is one of those important fighters, I think, in UFC history, because there are people who retire and some people call them legends, which I kind of don't like when they call them legends. Go, you're a legend. Joanna is a legit legend. Like, she's real deal legend, Hall of Famer, UFC Hall of Famer. If there's an MMA Hall of Fame, she's an easy shoe-in for Hall of Fame because her legacy is important. She built the strawweight division. I know Carl Esparza was the first champion, but she beat Carl Esparza in Carl's first title defense and held that belt for five title defenses before losing to Rose. And she always brought it every fight. All her fights were exciting. Even when she didn't get to finish, they still were exciting because she threw a lot. I mean, all those significant strikes landed, as Stan shows the picture. 1,724 significant strikes landed in her whole career. It's a lot of significant strikes. She really landed a lot of her strikes, and she had a great Muay Thai background. beat up a lot of girls. I never forget her fight with Jessica Penne, first title defense in Germany, where she beat the living daylights out of Jessica Penne. I mean, Penne bleeding from her nose, her eye. I mean, top of her eyebrow. I mean, she beat the crap out of her. Even the Carla Esparza fight where she stuffed the takedowns, just beat up Carla Esparza until she finished her.
It looks like we got some fights to watch when we got some fights to watch together with the fans. You mentioning them already. We gonna go through the fight history and the tapes, man.
Also the Claudia Cadela second fight where Claudia Cadela hurt her in that first round badly, where she got 10-8 against Joanna. Joanna came back the next round and dominated her, and it was just like a back and forth to the 4th, 5th round. I mean, Joanna has definitely had a lot of great fights. I mean, a lot of great victories, a lot of great fights. Even the Rose fight, the second Rose fight was close, where you can make an argument she might have won. I mean, that's a fight that at the time I thought Joanna won, that maybe she should have got her title back. But I haven't watched it since, so maybe I rewatched it, I might have a different opinion. But it was a close fight, very close fight that you can argue Joanna maybe won rematch with her and Rose. Like I said, Joanna never got dominated in the fights, with the exception of the first Rose loss, which was TKO in the first round, and the Valentina fight for the flyweight title. Those are only 2 fights I think where she truly got dominated. Every other fight in UFC, she was right in there to the end. Even the fight she lost, even this fight, I know Weili did well grappling wise, but she was able to survive the grappling exchanges and ground and pound, get up, and she did solid striking too. And Joanna, like I said, had a great career. I mean, Joanna Jedrzejczyk, one of the most important fighters out there. Not only that, but also what she did for Poland too. That's something we also got to take into consideration. She was the first Polish champion before Jan Blachowicz, won the belts. And I feel like her legacy is going to be more known over the next several years. We see more Polish fighters, Polish female fighters, and Polish men fighters as well. Considering there's already a good amount of them. There's Gamrot, who's main eventing next weekend. You got other Polish fighters coming up. I'm forgetting the names, but there's another one I'm forgetting. And I know excuse me, sorry, that I feel like she definitely opened the door for a lot of Polish fighters getting to UFC or other promotions. And I feel like that's another part of her legacy that might get able to look at that. Her and Jan Blachowicz, I feel like those two definitely did a lot to open Polish MMA to the point where KSW, a Polish MMA organization, has done shows in Poland in front of 60,000 people. There were stadium shows. That just shows how big MMA's grown. We talked about earlier how international UFC MMA is. Is another example of that right there. I feel like Joanna has played a major part in that. I feel like that legacy will continue to grow, see more Polish fighters. I feel like something that's definitely should be mentioned as well, or the legacy in terms for Polish MMA.
Yeah, most definitely. That is the first half of my analysis. This is the second half of my analysis. Now that I've done with the respectables and giving respects to the legends. Carla Esparza, you are a walking check. You are a walking plate. You are walking food. There is no rematch with you and Rose. It's you and Zhang Weili. And on top of that, Zhang Weili can make you back up so she negates the wrestling. You got to swing with this girl and she will knock you out. You're a walking plate. You are a walking check. You're done, my girl. You're done. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the belt at your marriage and at the honeymoon. I hope you played guitar with the belt, where you and your brand new husband played a guitar with your belt, this, that, whatever. But you're gonna have to give it back to Dana White, and Dana White will wrap it right back around Zhang Weili's waist, because you are a walking check. If you watch this fight, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch this fight between Zhang Weili and Joanna Jedrzejczyk and thought at some point Carla Esparza fits into that picture, you are bugging. Oh my gosh, no. No. Because what Austin neglected to tell you guys was this fight, the first round, was round 6 of the first fight.
That's true. Good point. I didn't mention that. Good point.
It was round 6 But this time, Zhang Weili said, you know what, let me show you something new. So now she has the power, and this is it's one thing to get it's one thing to get better in your wrestling. It's another thing to get comfortable. Like, Kamaru Usman was getting better and better in his striking. You notice he became a problem when he got comfortable with the striking. When he got comfortable, that's when you got that Gilbert Burns Kamaru Usman. That's when you got that Jorge Masvidal Kamaru Usman, where he knows, like, against these guys, he could grapple here and there, yeah, but let me just knock him out. When he got comfortable with his hands, the first Colby Covington fight, even the second Colby Covington fight, wasn't a lot of grappling from either of those guys. But Kamaru Usman was getting comfortable with his hands. So now you have a guy who's dangerous because you know what he can do grappling wise, but he's starting to show you, hey, I could do something else. And Zhang Weili, she got comfortable with the grappling. It was only a little bit to show here and there. I mean, if you think I'm reading too much into it, forget you. She got very, very comfortable in those grappling positions. That's how she was able to get Joanna down to the ground and pound and was able to land those shots, and it looked terrifying for Joanna. And Joanna still got back up. I'm sorry, Carla Esparza. I don't see you coming back up from Zhang Weili hitting you. Because when she hits, it's night-night.
She got power in her hands.
She got power. She got power, and Rose was playing with you while she was tagging you up. The only thought I came away with after this fight is Carla Esparza is a walk-in check to be cashed. Book the fight. It's no reason for this. Zhang Weili probably took more damage than Carla Esparza did.
Yes,
in the 1.5 round, as opposed to Carla Esparza for 5 rounds with Rose. But even Zhang Weili will probably say, book the fight tomorrow. It's her and Esparza. That's the fight. And if Rose feels some type of way, you gotta get back. You gotta fight someone else and impress us all over again. Because we thought you convinced us that you were the best twice in a row when you beat Zhang Weili twice. And then part of that performance was your fault too.
Yes. Yep, it was, definitely.
The only difference is we know what Carla Esparza is about to run into. That's a buzzsaw waiting for their belt back.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's a bad matchup for Carla Esparza. You know, Carla has been wrestling longer, but still, Weili's working on wrestling. Trained with Cejudo, and she's definitely working on that. And also, when Carla took Rose down, Rose got up immediately, so that negates the wrestling aspect. Especially now. Go ahead.
This is the other part too. I'm going to tell you, man. What I'm about to say, you know, is a fundamental difference as to why Carla can't move the way she moved. You can be comfortable, and it's not to shade Rose, but Rose isn't known for her knockout power. So you can be comfortable walking into range with Rose. Like Rose, I'm not saying Rose is, all right. I'm not saying Rose doesn't have knockout power. I'm not saying she doesn't have that. But Rose is more likely to piece you apart.
Gotcha.
She's more likely to piece you apart. The fact that she caught Zhang Weili the way she did the first time, that's why it was such a big surprise. Because it was first hit straight out the gate that disoriented Zhang Weili. Whoa! Rose got it like that? That's what had us all surprised like that. But Rose is more likely, she's not gonna finish you within the first round. If you want a classic Rose fight, you naturally want her finishing the opponent roughly 3rd, 4th round because she's built her rhythm. She's read her opponent. She knows what she wants when she wants it. So now at that point, she's just manually breaking them down. That's what Rose is. She's a breakdown artist. But Carla Esparza is not going to feel that comfortable walking into range with Zhang Weili. You can't feel that comfortable. Magnum is going to put your lights out. Magnum puts your lights out. That's it.
For those who don't know, I believe that's Zhang Weili's nickname, Magnum.
That's Zhang Weili's nickname, Magnum. She puts your lights out. Whether it's in the first round or the 5th round. You hope that you get her to the 5th round because she's going to be tired. But guess what? We've seen that even in the 5th round, she still maintains her knockout power. Like, how do I say this? I'm not saying, like, all right, like, man. In comparison to the heavyweights, right? And I'm going to compare this. Rose is similar, and I'm not even saying as far as style of fights. It's just as far as who you see them as a fighter. Rose is comparable to Cyril Gane. Creative striker, is going to break you down. Zhang Weili got that Francis Ngannou power, bro. she got that predator, one-hitter quitter. And any night, look, and all fighters will tell you, any night an over right hand from anybody can cleanly knock you out. But there are some fighters, they don't need all that extra body torque motion. They could do the 1-inch punch and it'll just clean knock you out. And that's what Zhang Weili has. That's why Carla Esparza can't walk into range as comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I agree, and I can't. And hopefully this fight actually made soon because Carla took no damage, and I know Zhang Weili took more damage in this fight, but Zhang Weili won the fight in October in Abu Dhabi, which I think why not? Makes sense. It's quick. It's a quick turnaround. I would say
October, November.
September.
If you want to end the year off right, give it to us on Christmas. I don't care. I want that for my Christmas present. I shouldn't wait that long. I shouldn't wait that long.
September,
I shouldn't
October.
wait that long. September, October, but that fight needs to be had because I'm gonna tell you what. If Carla Esparza isn't trying to get back into the ring immediately, look at you just made that face, and I'm gonna end it on that.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, Austin just made a face where you just grab your collar, you just pull it to the side and go, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. I'm gonna just end it on that, man. Let's move on to the next fight.
Carla and Weili next. That needs to
Carla
happen.
Weili next, man. That's it.
But more happened in this card. A lot happened in this card. Let's talk about the welterweight fight between Jake Matthews and Andre Fialho. Jake Matthews defeats Andre Fialho in 2 minutes and 24 seconds in the 2nd round. This fight shocked me. I was shocked. I think you and I didn't expect this from Jake Matthews. I thought Fialho was gonna. I thought if anyone got knocked out, it'd be Fialho. Especially Matthews was the better boxer than Fialho. Which Fialho was a very good boxer in MMA. It was shocking to see. I couldn't believe it. I mean,
you know what's crazy?
What?
It's not shocking to me. I'm gonna tell you why. Like the first couple of in the first couple of minutes in the first round, I'm watching it, and Jake Matthews is as spry as he is. He's bouncing around the ring, and Andre Fialho is trying to, get into range to box with him, right? And it's funny enough. Sometimes commentary does you great. Sometimes commentary does you bad. In this moment, commentary did Jake Matthews wonders, and it did Andre Fialho bad because I don't know if you heard DC and Bisping and Anik throughout the entire first round. But Jake Matthews is coming in, boom, he's clocking Andre Fialho every time Andre Fialho gets in the range. Fialho catches him a little bit here and there, but Jake Matthews is running up the numbers on him, and they're effective. That's what essentially the fight was, ladies and gentlemen. It was never any grappling. Maybe a clinch here and there, but they got out of the clinch immediately to get right back into throwing leather, right?
Yeah.
And the entire time, you're hearing DC go, man, when Andre Fialho was in my camp, the wrestling he used to do, the wrestling he did, man, he's such a great wrestler, man. He's such a great wrestler, man. He's such a great wrestler. He's such a great wrestler. And while I'm watching this, right, and I'm going, man, Andre Fialho's getting pieced up. This ain't the Andre Fialho we've been seeing for a while. And then I go, wait a minute. This is the Andre Fialho we've been seeing for a while. Because he's been finishing his opponents, but every fight that he's won so far, tell me he hasn't gotten clocked early and we haven't gotten worried about him.
Yeah, you're right. He has gotten clocked early. We've gotten worried about him. Even the Baeza fights, he got clocked early, and
right?
He bounced back one. You know, Pereira I believe got clocked early. Although I think he won the first round, lost the final 2 rounds in that fight. And then his last fight against Van Camp, did he get clipped early in that fight? I know he won.
He got clipped. He got clipped early, and then when they were when he hit Van Camp, it was a dual exchange. He just got the better of Van Camp.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
So Fialho's been getting used to getting hit. He's just been comfortable, like, hey, I can finish this guy off. All the meanwhile, they're saying, man, this guy's wrestling. This guy's wrestling. This guy's wrestling. Back to the Michel Pereira fight. Don't you remember him mixing in the arts more with Michel Pereira?
Mm-hmm.
He did, man.
Okay,
I remember he was going for clinches and going for takedowns a lot more. It's just that Pereira was able to get the distance because Pereira's such a naturally gifted athlete, man. He was able to, fight out of some of the scrambles, fight out of some of the clinching, striking with him, and he was able to clip Fialho a lot of times, when they separated because he had the reach advantage on Fialho. But Fialho can grapple, man. So coming away from this fight, I was like, yo, salute to salute to Jake Matthews. That was a great fight from Jake Matthews. He looked excellent with the boxing that he had. He looked very, very excellent. But did a part of me watching that fight go, man, Fialho, who's been on a roll, he still hasn't given us everything that he's got because he still hasn't mixed in the martial arts yet. And what I'm hearing from everyone is that this guy's a great grappler. He kind of did himself a disservice here, especially against a guy who was so good with the boxing. Round 2 would have been essentially that would have been my if I'm in his corner, that would have been my telltale after that round to go, we got to mix it up, buddy. We got to take him on the ground.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good point. He should have mixed up his wrestling after round 1. I mean, I'm surprised Henry Hoof and them didn't tell him that, considering how good a coach Henry Hoof is. And DC's mentioning how good his wrestling is when he was training AKA Fialho. And yeah, he should have done that. You're totally right. If he had done that, who knows how this fight would turn out. But I expect this from Jake Matthews. I mean, man, he's been in UFC for a while. I forget he's only 27. For some reason I thought he was older because, like I said, he's been in UFC for a while, since 2014. So I assume he's older. They really got in UFC so young. So he's definitely still growing and evolving as an MMA fighter. Plus, it was his first fight in over a year. His last fight was a loss to Sean Brady back in March of 2021. With Sean Brady, we see how good he is. And Matthews looked better, showcases great boxing, got improved. Looked different, too, with, tattoos like a Viking, the hair. I mean, a great victory for Jake Matthews. I didn't expect. I thought he was going to win. He maybe mix takedowns and mix the martial arts instead of just dominating Fialho staying up. But that's what he did and knocked out Fialho. Impressive knockout.
Yeah, it was an impressive knockout. And once again, I hate taking away from Jake Matthews' victory. It was a great victory on the main card, knocking out a rising contender in Andre Fialho, who he's not done yet. Andre Fialho's not done yet. But I even just before the matchup, when I heard that Jake Matthews' last loss was to Sean Brady, I said, okay, so Fialho's gonna mix it up tonight, right? And he didn't. And I was like, wow. Sean Brady, if I hear that a guy's last loss was against I'm saying a couple of names here, just guys, whether they're inside, out of the game right now, but just, I'm going to mention some names there. DC, Habib, Michael Chiesa, Luke Rockhold, like these guys that are known for their grappling. Islam, like a lot of guys, if I just hear names, Sean Brady, if I hear names that a guy's last loss was against any one of these guys and they dominate in the grappling department, I gotta bring some grappling to the fight.
I see what you mean, yeah. Or Charles Oliveira. If your last loss to those guys who are grapplers and if they got dominated, you should grapple your opponent. If your last loss to those guys and they got dominant grappling. I see what you mean. Okay, I misheard you. I get what you mean. Yes, totally
Logan
agree.
Storley
and Bellator, good point. Yes.
If I hear that your last loss was against him, I gotta mix it in, just to throw you off. Even if you know I'm a striker, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah, totally agree. You're right. Good point. Very good point. Surprised. Yeah, Fialho messed up there. Just can't mess up. I mean, there. I agree, but great victory for Jake Matthews. Biggest victory of his career, even bigger than being the Leech back in the day. But the Leech wasn't who he is now. That was in 2018, and then he beat Diego Sanchez in September 2020. But that was not Diego Sanchez of old. Bigger name, but still wasn't Diego Sanchez of old either. But still, biggest victory of his career on pay-per-view card. He's a rising contender. Now he's close to being ranked. I don't know if it's gonna be ranked or not. Probably not. But he's right there where he wins his next fight. He'll be ranked on Jake Matthews. Great victory. Like I said, I didn't know he was 27. I thought he was older. He's still young. I mean, 27 is still young in the game. So definitely improve.
A lot of room for improvement.
Yep. Definitely. Great job, Jake Matthews. And then we go from one Aussie to another Aussie in the first fights, which I believe was the middleweight division between Jack Della Maddalena versus Ramazan Emeev, which Jack Della Maddalena wins via TKO in 2 minutes 32 seconds first round. You see the body shot, one of the body shots that ended the fight, which made me happy because if you know me, 3 things I love MMA are body slams, head kicks, and body shots. My 3 favorite things, and one of my 3 favorite things happened: a body shot finish. And it was a impressive victory for Maddalena, considering he was in trouble like 30 seconds, 45 seconds earlier. He was in a tight darts choke for Emeev. Emeev, they ever got in a grappling exchange. Emeev on that darts choke, and then guillotine, and then he turned to a darts choke because they went down the ground. It was tight. He thought, Jack was in trouble. He was gonna get submitted.
Yo, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I'm glad that you brought that up. I just want to point this out. That moment that happened and I started to see him change colors a little bit, I said, Jack's got to tap.
Yeah.
And he fought through.
He did. He fought through, was able to escape. Because I think what it was is that even though Ramza had the choke on, there was a point where it kind of got loose and Jack had room to where he can turn his body and escape, but there was still some room to play out tight. He was squeezing it, and once Jack recognized the room he had, he was able to move his body and get out of there. Once he got out of there, it was the end for Emeev because it's like he burned out his arms doing that choke. It seemed like that's what happened. His arms got burned, so he couldn't really put his guard up. When Jack started throwing shots and threw some shots to the head, then those left body shots. The first one was a big one, and then he threw a second one. Once that second left hit to the body, he dropped. It was a delayed reaction from Emeev, but he dropped that left body shot, and that was it. And then Jake landed some shots, even though when Emeev was on the bottom, those shots didn't land, but still Emeev was done. He was in a prone position to where he could continue and ref stopped it. But great victory for Jack Della Maddalena. Breakthrough performance on the pay-per-view card, opening the pay-per-view card, considering he wasn't supposed to be on the pay-per-view card. Him or I think Jake Matthews, because Whitaker and Vettori were supposed to fight, and then Whitaker got hurt, and then Manel Kape and Bertrand were supposed to fight, but Bertrand got a kidney issue from the weight cuts. Unfortunately, that fight didn't happen, which sucks, but they'll redo that fight. But still, but Jake Matthews and Jack Della Maddalena capitalized on their pay-per-view opportunities and deliver on the pay-per-view. Got first round not first round, but TKO and KO victories, both of them. And both guys represent Australia too, which you talk about MMA growing in Europe and Central Europe. How about Australia the last several years? I mean, the Oceanic region, you got City Kickboxing, you got guys Robert Whitaker, Tai Tuivasa in Australia. Volkanovski, I know he's both Australia and New Zealand, but You got Siki fights in New Zealand.
He's an Aussie.
He's an Aussie though. I know. Yeah, he's an Aussie. And I thought there's someone else I'm forgetting from Australia. Casey O'Neill, who unfortunately got injured, rising contender from training and living in Australia, and people like that. I mean, that region, that last several years has been growing in MMA. You've seen high level talent come out of that region, and we see two guys from that region showcasing their skills and winning big fights and big pay-per-view. And like I said, the crowd was very pro those two guys. There's a lot of love for the Australians.
Bro, Jack, for a guy that was supposed to be on the preliminaries, they moved him up to the main card, and Singapore showed him love. He popped like a main carder. I think it's one of them things where, like, this is an opportunity he did not waste, because now he's a main card fighter.
Yes, he is. He definitely is, for sure. I mean, he's the main card fighter this performance, and especially be a tough Russian from Dagestan, I believe. From Dagestan, who's a wrestler too from Dagestan, which you know how good those guys are. He beat him. I mean, body shots too, which was like, I mean, it's just shout out to Jack Della Maddalena, definitely.
Jack Della Maddalena.
Hard name to pronounce, really hard, but
no.
Jack Della Maddalena.
I've been watching my Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo. I know how to pronounce it now. Jack Della Maddalena.
Yeah. But great victory for him. Definitely made name for himself on a pay-per-view card. And him and Jake Matthews, both guys who were preliminaries, but yet got in the pay-per-view and made name for themselves. And that's how you do it. That's how you make your name for yourself. That's how you get bigger fights, bigger checks, doing stuff like that, an opportunity calls, and they capitalize. Good job on both of them. And like I said, a lot of love for them in Singapore. I know Australia is not that far from Singapore, because Whitaker's was the fight there. You had like 3 Australians fight on this card. I think 4, because I think it might have been an Australian on this card. But definitely great performance by Jack Della Maddalena, as he got a performance bonus. I know him, Matthews got a performance bonus. I think Weili did. Also, Yuri and Glover obviously got a fight tonight, of course. I mean, they have to. But I do not. And I'm trying to think. There were a lot of performance bonuses.
There was a lot of performance bonuses, because there's two more. There's on preliminaries. There's 2 performances I want to highlight that I thought were very, very good. Those 2 got the performance bonuses, and we get you. If you want to jump right into it, we can.
Yeah, which one you want? I guess we'll start with Hayisaer. How you say his last name? Maheshate? No.
Who?
The one of the points bonuses.
Maheshate.
Maheshate.
Maheshate versus Steve Garcia. Yeah, he finished it with the counter right in the first round. Maheshate, I had to remember that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that was a great knockout from Maheshate, as he got a performance bonus, rightfully so. He knocked the guy out in a minute and 14 seconds, 74 seconds. You have to get a performance bonus.
And it was a back and forth minute and 14 seconds. I gotta say that it was back and forth. Those 2 were going back and forth. Steve Garcia even caught Maheshate in some compromising positions. Crazy enough, Steve Garcia gets rocked. He drops down on one knee. Maheshate is about to hit him. Steve Garcia shoots. Brings his gets the double leg. Now he has Maheshate on off balance. Maheshate has one arm on the ground. He's to the side. Steve Garcia starts ground and pound. Well, not really ground and pound, but against the cage, just hitting him in the face, getting good shots. And Maheshate looked in trouble. They're moving around, and man, consistently throughout this fight, you hear Bisping going, Maheshate's got a piston of a right hand. He's got a piston of a right hand. He's got a piston of a right hand. And when he said it that last time, he said, boom! Rocked him with a counter right.
That's right. Yeah, he was going backwards too. That's right. I was just rewatching it now, and he did Stevie Miocic's Brazier Verdum. If you remember, when Stipe won the title against Verdum, he knocked Verdum out going backwards, which was one of the most impressive knockouts ever. It's hard to knock a guy going backwards. That's what Maheshate did. He knocked out Garcia going backwards with counter rights. as Bisping said, he got piston right hand. He showed it there, going backwards. That's always impressive. That will always impress me. It's impressed everyone going backwards, not one knocking someone out. That's hard to do.
And it's just, it's not like he just kept moving backwards. He chose his time. It's a lot of fighters know that sometimes it isn't about me moving forward lunge. Sometimes I just it was a perfect counter because while he's moving backwards, he chose at the right moment to plant that right foot. And when Garcia thought he was still moving backwards, Maheshate just unleashed that right hand, and that was it. Garcia face planted on the ground, was done.
Yeah, it was done. Great victory. To knock him out backwards like that, he was in right positions you mentioned. You tip your hat, salute to him. Deserved performance bonus. And also the other person that got the performance bonus is Silvana Gomez Juarez, knocking out Liang in minute 20 seconds. So 6 seconds later than the Garcia Maheshate fight. They say 80 seconds. Knocked out Juarez with a huge knockout. I mean, she folded her opponent too.
Bro, this was crazy. Go ahead.
It was crazy. This was because it seemed like her opponent was trying to go for a lot of grappling, but she couldn't get it. And it's like she knew she was compromised standing up. Like she did not want to get standing because almost like she knew if the fight was standing, she was going in trouble. And it turned out she was right because Juarez knocked her out badly in that fight. Like she folded, like her knee buckled, but it looked like she injured her knee when she fell down, but she didn't, thankfully.
Nah, it's just the brain disconnected.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, they what is it? After she tried getting Silvana in the grappling exchange against the cage, Silvana breaks it up. They're moving back, but once again, an opponent moving back, right? She's moving back. She stops. What is it? Liang tried swinging one time. She ducked it, went with the right hand. Boom! Rocked her.
Yep, dropped her on one knee.
Her knee dropped her on one knee, had her proposing like this, ladies and gentlemen. She got back up. She missed the right hand, but then that left hook came. Rocked her. Boom! Hit her with another right, and then the last left while she was going down to just make Irene say goodnight.
Yes, she did, and a great victory for her. Great victory for Juarez. The knock. You don't see many strawweight knockouts like that, and that was a very vicious knockout. You don't see them in strawweight division unless you're just gonna draw it for Weili Zhang, and that was like impressive. That goes, whoa! I took your Black Rob. You saw that, you go, whoa! Capture your attention because you don't see it often at the division.
So that knockout had me looking like, whoa! Man, yeah.
What a great knockout!
Yeah.
I'm glad she got a performance bonus. A lot of great knockouts and finishes. Everyone got performance bonus, deserved it. Everyone did. You can't complain. This was a good. Everyone got it. From Juarez to Maheshate to Maddalena to Matthews, Weili Zhang, and of course Yuri and Glover for their legendary fight. Great card.
It feels right when the main event got the fight of the night bonus, and rightfully so.
Yes. See, the UFC's happy with that card. Dana White was happy watching it in Miami with his son, celebrating his son's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone at UFC. Singapore got a great card. Pay-per-view of the year so far, and this or London event of the year so far in UFC. So far, we got half a year left. We'll wait and see what happens, which events capture attention, which events deliver, which ones don't. But yeah, great pay-per-view UFC. Excellent. Great job. People in Singapore were happy. And what are your thoughts on this pay-per-view before we move on?
I agree with you 100%. This so far is pay-per-view of the year because the main card definitely delivered. There were some up-and-comers on the preliminaries, but overall, this was very entertaining. Card of the year, I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a Patty Pimblett homer, that whenever he's on a card, I'm just gonna say that was card of the year. But I mean, come on, man. Like,
London was great. No. You only Patty Pivot homework to recognize to say London was the card of the year because London was that damn good. I don't fault you. It was pretty damn great. It was legendary.
And look, and here's the crazy part, right? I was about to say something so biased, but I had to catch myself. I was about to say, like, come on. I mean, London had a spinning back fist finish.
Yeah.
Right? As just as I was about to say that, I'm like, Zhang Weili just finished Joanna Jedrzejczyk with the spinning back fist.
Right.
I can't sit there and say one back fist was better than the other.
Right. They both had it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is a discussion for another day in terms of event of the year. It's either this card or the London card as your two picks because they both were great.
And another thing, Zhang Weili, possible contender for knockout of the year.
Yes.
These are some of the hallmarks you got to hit for card of the year, man. We didn't set the bar. We're only attending to the hallmarks. That's it.
Yeah, and we have fight of the year too on this card as well.
Oh yeah.
Candidates, yeah.
Potential.
Yeah,
We still got a lot of year left.
Yeah, it's a candidate though. It's gonna be an end of the year one of the candidates with other fights down the road. But yeah, great card, awesome, enjoyed it, and we got a good card this coming weekend. UFC Austin, live in Austin, Texas. UFC on ESPN with a main event between Calvin Kattar and Josh Emmett in the featherweight division. A very important match. Yeah, that's the one. A very important matchup in the featherweight division. Main card starts at 7 p.m. ESPN. Prelims start, I believe, around 4 p.m. Okay, at 4 p.m., 9 p.m. UK time. And this is this is a very important fight I mentioned in the featherweight division, considering during this fight, it's more likely to fight the winner of Holloway Volkanovski 3. That happens in July 2nd, the UFC next pay-per-view. And Calvin Kattar is coming off an impressive victory over Giga Chikadze, five round domination of Giga after getting dominated by Max Holloway the year earlier, and proving why he's still one of the top contenders in the featherweight division. Josh Emmett's come out victory over Dan Ige, a very competitive fight back in December. And both guys are, I believe, in the top 6 or top 5. I know Jiri Prochazka for sure. Emmett, I believe, like 6 around there. I forget his ranking. But like I said, whoever wins this fight is definitely going to fight the winner of Holloway Volkanovski next. I think it makes sense. Do you agree with me there?
I agree 100%. This fight decides the number one contender, because as far as I see it, man, Brian Ortega, he's got business coming up, I believe, with Yair Rodriguez, right?
Yes, July 17th, Long Island.
That could potentially shake out some cobwebs. But other than that, there's been no one really that's been active enough and impressive enough for us to say, like, yeah, this guy is the next guy to really be the contender. I mean, I would have given it to Bryce Mitchell if Bryce Mitchell was more active. Other than that great finish he had over I'm seeing his face, but his name is slipping me. He recently fought Giga Chikadze.
Not Barboza.
Yeah, Barboza was his last
fight. He didn't finish him. He went to decision. If I'm mistaken.
It went to decision?
Yeah,
it went to decision, but he essentially dominated Edson Barboza. That's why it felt like a finish. Yeah, he dominated Barboza. Barboza had little to nothing for Bryce Mitchell. So I would have loved to potentially see Bryce Mitchell in this mix-up, but if you're only fighting once a year, this is the results you're going to get. A lot of people are just going to overlook you because they're working harder than you. I
agree 100%. And hopefully Bryce gets another fight this year. But these two are rightful contenders rightful guys to fight for number one contendership. And this fight, I think, there's gonna be a lot of stand-up in this fight. I do think it's potential one of these guys will mix the wrestling in as well to throw the other one off. I think that's a possibility. But I think there's gonna be a lot of stand-up because both guys are stand-up fighters. Josh Emmett, we know he's got power in his hands. He's knocked guys out one shot, whether it be Michael Johnson in that featherweight fight or Ricardo Lamas in their fights, and I forget who else he knocked out one punch. And Calvin Kattar's got a lot of good striking, very good boxing. Trains with Rob Quan and Newland Cartel over there in that gym. His boxing is one of the best in the MMA. And so I'd expect to see a lot of stand-up fights and a lot of stand-up in this fight. I think whoever can land, it's going to depend who has the better boxing or stand-up for the two, because it could possibly be a kickboxing fight as well, because I can see one that maybe throwing kicks to the other one off, potentially. That's just my opinion. And wait thoughts on that, and what do you see in this fight?
I agree with you 100%. There's a potential for a knockout here. There's definitely a potential for a knockout, but the knockout isn't going to come from just like instantaneously one shot out of nowhere. I think like you said, there's other things, there's other factors that will contribute to that knockout. Who decides, you know what, I'm going to chop this guy's leg so he doesn't have that much power throwing? Who decides I'm going to mix in some grappling here and there? That way I could get in close into a range that I want, and I could maybe make this some dirty boxing here. Someone is going to do something that's going to change the complexion of this fight so that their striking comes out on top. But I agree with you 100%. This is going to be a striking heavy matchup, and I can't wait.
Me same. I can't wait. And I think I lean towards Calvin Kattar winning the fight personally. I think I think Calvin Kattar is a better stand-up fighter than Emeev. I know Emeev, got power, but even if he's got power, sometimes he doesn't always knock the guys out. So there's been fights where he's landed a lot of shots and big shots and doesn't knock them out at times. It's weird like that. Like Jane Burgos and Dan Ige, he hit him with some big shots, but then knocked them out. And it was a competitive fight against Ige, where Ige almost won that fight though, back in December. I forgot Calvin Kattar did knock out Shane Burgos. I was gonna bring that up as well, which is kind of crazy considering Emmett's known for the one-punch knockouts. But I think Calvin Kattar is a little bit younger, but also I think better stand-up fighter personally. I lean towards Calvin Kattar, but I can see Emeev win the fight. I wouldn't be shocked at all. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Emeev comes out on top. Well, excuse me. I think Kattar comes out on top because technically he's just going to be that much better than Emeev. If Emeev could find some way to mix things up, possibly, but I think Calvin Kattar is the cleaner, more technical striker.
Yeah, I agree. I think Emeev has a wrestling background too, if I'm mistaken. So I wonder if that comes to play in this fight. But he doesn't use a lot of wrestling. So who knows? That's something to watch out for. But like I said, who knows? Can't wait for Saturday. It's a great main event for a fight night in Austin. Anything else you want to mention before we move on?
Nah, that's really it. Let's get on to the next fight.
Next fight is in the lightweight division between Cowboy Cerrone and Joe Lauzon. This is a fight between two veterans. Both guys been UFC for a while. Both guys been MMA for a while. And this fight, I think I lean towards Cowboy Cerrone in this fight. I know Cowboy hasn't exactly been the best in terms of like winning fights recent run, but I feel the competition he's fought has been a lot better than Joe Lauzon. If you think about it, he hasn't won fights since May of 2019 against Alex Quinta, but his losses are to Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, McGregor, Anthony Pettis. Then there was that no contest against Nico Price back in September 2020, and then he lost to Alex Moreno last year in May. So, he's lost, hasn't won a fight, but he's fighting against good competition. I feel like his competition versus Joe Lauzon. Cowboys been fighting much tougher competition. Cowboys, not forget, fought for the world title back in the day. And I think Joe Lauzon's a very good grappler, but Cowboy is no slouch at grappling as well. I think Cowboys' grappling is good enough to cancel out Lauzon's grappling attack. I think it leads to stand-up, and Cowboys to me is a much better striker than Joe Lauzon. I think he'll win. I think that's why I think Cowboy will win, because of the stand-up matchup. And Cowboy sometimes gets rocked early on in his fights, but Cowboy never gets knocked out. He's lost by TKO, but he's never been knocked out like that. You get what I mean? I don't think Joe Lauzon presents that power, in my opinion. That's why I think of this fight. I think both guys are very good grapplers, and then they're going to cancel each other out, and it's going to come down to stand-up, which I favor Cowboy in this fight. This is my opinion. What are your thoughts on this fight, Chef Dan?
I agree with everything you say, but I got to throw this caveat out there. There's a rumor that this may either Donald Cerrone or Joe Lauzon, or it might be both of their last fights. I think they're both planning on retiring after this fight. And if you've heard me on this show before, I don't like I don't know what it is, but like when you have when a fighter preeminently announces their retirement before their last fight, I'm not watching the fight with a lot of anticipation of what happens next. I'm just going to enjoy this fight. I'm kind of not looking to see who's a winner or who's a loser. I'm just kind of hoping that they can entertain me, and that's it. Because I believe the rumor is either one of them or both of them are going to retire after this fight. So, I mean, if that's the case, you know how I go. Like a lot of the part of the story and why the fighters why it makes it so fun for me to watch the fights is because a fighter isn't just fighting for that night. They're fighting for, the potential to fight the next night. But if that's not what's going on here, then I'm just gonna enjoy it as is. I really don't have a dog in this one.
Yeah, I understand. I heard a rumor about one of them retiring. It could be both of them because they've both been around for so long. But you're right, there's a rumor about one of them. I forget which one. But it's possible both of them might retire after this fight, considering they've both been around for a while and they're both, towards the end of their career anyway. But also, this is Joe Lauzon's first fight in 3 years. He hadn't fought since 2019. So I wonder if that plays a factor with him, like octagon rust.
You're discouraging me more and more, Austin. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's retirement plus a layoff. I don't know. Who knows? Like I said, who knows how this fight turns out? Both guys are very entertaining. Joe Lauzon is a pretty entertaining fighter. He's always been most of his career. Same Cowboy Cerrone. I mean, I'm surprised they both gave us one last entertaining fight. They'll find, last of the Mohicans for these two. Have to go on their shield. That makes sense. I want to be hopeful for that. Like, Austin, you're hopeful for that. I'm gonna tell you on my end. I like once you just said layoff for 3 years, that just gave me a gut punch. Like, ugh, you know what? Ugh. I'm gonna watch it because it's the co-main event. Yeah, but yeah.
Okay. Let's move on we'll move on to the third fight in the card. Well, the next fight in the card, which is Tim Means against Kevin Holland. Return Kevin Holland after a successful victory at welterweight against Cowboy Alex Oliveira. Go against a guy in Tim Means who's a veteran in the welterweight division. Guy's 32-12. Holland 22-7. And I can tell you're excited. I saw when I mentioned Holland how excited you got. Go ahead and break this fight down, Dan. I'll let you go first.
Oh man, ain't really much for me to break down except the Trailblazers back. I am such a big fan of Kevin Holland, and that fight against Cowboy Oliveira, it was a great fight because it wasn't a lot of talking. He noticed the last two performances that he had did not look good, and well, not the last two, but prior to the Dawkins fight, the last two performances he had did not look good. And then you had the Kyle Dawkins fight, which ended in that headbutt fashion the way it did. Kevin Holland kind of just, they weren't talking about him. And, when they were talking about him as far as like him have to learn how to wrestle and things of that nature, that can be a good thing because that lets you know they want to see you again. They just want to see you better. But after that, they weren't talking about him. And that's dangerous. That means you're not on their mind. They don't care for you right now. I didn't have a reason to bring up Kevin Holland. I got to keep it real with you. But then he had that victory against Cowboy Oliveira. He looked great. The defense looked great as far as grappling. So he gets another opportunity here to showcase. And it's going to be on a UFC fight night. 9 times out of 10, this is in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
In the
Apex.
Yep, in the Apex, meaning we will have. Oh no, it's not in Vegas.
Oh no! I think you meant
this
9
is in Austin, Texas.
My bad. I think you said 9 times 10 is in Vegas, no Apex. No, my bad. This card's in Texas. They're in Austin.
This is in Texas, so they're gonna have a crowd there. He's not gonna be able to echo as far as his talking throughout, the apex, so he's not going to be able to hear himself, things of that nature.
No.
Can Kevin Holland repeat the same thing that he did with Cowboy Oliveira? And it's not essentially the same game plan, but we want to see the same demeanor. You came in there serious. You didn't have anything to say until after you got the job done. You finish the job, then you can talk as much as you want, but finish your food first.
I agree. Definitely agree with everything you just said. Great points. Also, yeah, Kevin Holland's from Texas. He's not from home, and he's from the Dallas area, so he's finding his home state. So
he's from Houston.
Houston, my bad, Houston. So yeah, finding his home state, Texas, even though I don't know, maybe some friends will come out to see him. Probably, Texas is a big state. I mean, from Houston to Austin's pretty long, but yeah, definitely some friends and family. Try to watch him. Probably gonna want to go out there and win. And he's got a good point for him against Tim Means, a guy who's veteran, not highly ranked, but he's coming off 3 straight victories. Tim Means, and I think it's a good matchup for him considering Tim Means is not exactly a young guy. He's 37. Kevin Holland's like 29. Also, Holland's very long for that division. I think if he uses his range, I think he'll have a reach advantage. Excuse me. If he uses that, I think he'll definitely be able to hurt Tim Means and hurt him badly. And I think Kevin Holland's gonna win this fight personally, just because of the youthful experience and also the advantage he has in terms of his height and reach advantage, and also he's a skilled fighter. Despite some of the hiccups he had, with the wrestling and talking instead of getting off, he's definitely showed a lot of skills in his fights. And he definitely showed Cowboy Oliveira. He waited till after the fight to do his talking, and he went out there and had a very good fight against Cowboy Oliveira. Hurt him and finished him with elbows. So yeah, I'm leaning towards Kevin. I think Kevin Holland definitely. I can see him win this fight via second round finish, just personally.
I agree with you there. This could he could potential second round finish. If not, then he's dominating throughout 3 rounds. But oh man, this is a good card because I want to get right from this fight to the next one.
Yes. Joaquin Buckley is returning. Against Albert Durev. Albert Durev coming in 15-3, his record. Joaquin Buckley 14-4. And Joaquin Buckley, we're both excited. We love Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley is an exciting fighter, a guy who brings it every time. Got spectacular knockouts. Of course, we know his famous knockout year 2020, that spinning back kick knockout, that video game knockout that was. I mean, that just was crazy what he did. And he's returning. He's come out with victory over I'm trying to remember who he beat. Joaquin Buckley. It was a decision. I remember he had used grappling, I believe, in that fight to win.
Oh man, give me one moment. I just looked at his name. Abdul Razak Al-Hassan.
Okay, yes, there we go. Yeah, I remember because he had used grappling in that fight, and that's where he and also once Abdul got tired, he was able to capitalize on that. He showcased his cardio a little bit. Joaquin come up 2 victories in a row against Albert Durev, he won his last fight in the UFC back in Abu Dhabi in the Jan Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira card. And a lot of people are very high on Albert Durev, 15-3 guy who was, I believe, the champion in Russia at M1, if I'm not mistaken. Got a cool nickname, Maheshate, Albert Maheshate Durev. Yeah, he come out his first victory in the UFC again, back in Abu Dhabi. Won Contender Series. He's won about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a row. He's won 10 fights in a row. However, the one thing I'm concerned about for Albert Durev is all 3 of his losses have been knockouts. And we all know Joaquin Buckley hits hard. Not just his kicks, but with his punches too. It seems like this fight could be a good matchup for Joaquin Buckley. I don't want to say tailor-made. It's probably the wrong word. Not wouldn't be tailor-made, but favorable for Joaquin Buckley, in my opinion.
A bit favorable, but I think I don't know. Maybe because we're just fans, we're just excited to see him back in the ring, and I'm excited. I'm just excited. I'm excited.
One thing is Durev does have 9 submission victories on his 15 fights, so it seems like it's possible he may want to take this fight to the ground. And if he does take it to the ground, Joaquin could be in trouble because Joaquin not exactly the best grappler, although he did show signs of he did use it in his last fights, and I'm pretty sure Joaquin's working on it. So I think his grappling will be tested, his wrestling defense will be tested in his fights, and if he can do well there, I think he can definitely hurt Alberts and probably knock him out, considering all three Alberts' losses were by KO, and Joaquin, like I said, has a lot of power in his punches.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. I'm excited for these two fights back to back. Oh man, Uncle Dana is playing. Uncle Dana play around too much.
Oh well, yeah. Good, very good fight night card in Austin, Texas. The fans of Austin, Texas should definitely enjoy this card. I wonder if Rogan's gonna do it. So he lives in Austin. Who would think? Lives there, you just go back home.
I mean, he does. I mean, he does, because he does the pay-per-views, and I think probably because they like he charges so much for an appearance because he's Joe Rogan. But
right.
I mean, come on, this would be a great. I would love to hear Rogan with back-to-back Buckley and Holland fighting on the same card. He's all about.
There's Rogan. Oh, he heard him.
Like wait, Rogan just look at my face, you know.
Exactly, he does that face. The Rogan face. Yes, that's the meme. He does do that a lot. Ah! Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully. Well, we got. Oh, there are two more fights on this main card. You got Damir Ismagulov versus Graham Cutelez. I think I'm butchering his last name. Cutelez in this fight. Damir is 23-1, so very great record. 23-1 is a really good record. However, Graham is 12-2. This is in the lightweight division. These are two Eastern European fighters, it seems like. I'm not too familiar with them.
They both have had like one or two fights on the UFC in preliminaries. Give me one moment. Guram Kudelets, he did fight Mateusz Gamrot, and he beat Mateusz Gamrot, but other than that, there hasn't been like there's not a lot of I don't remember much from either of these fighters. It would be a reintroduction.
Oh, wow, he beat Gamrot. That's pretty impressive. So look what Gamrot's done. Now he's main evented the next card, not this card, but next card against Armin Sarukian. Damn, that is a very impressive victory right there. That shows that Graham is a legit fight contender. Well, a legit fighter. He's not a contender. He's not ranked, but still, to beat Graham at your last fight. However, Graham hasn't fought since October 2020, which was the victory over Baptiste Gumarat. So I wonder if a layoff will affect him. The year-and-a-half layoff going against a guy in Damir who's 23-1. Cueno Slouch, a guy who's beating Thiago Moises back in 2019. Although for Damir, he hasn't fought since May of 2021. You know that, and that was the victory over Rafael Alves. So Damir is more fresh compared to Graham. And it seems like with Damir, if Damir wins via KO typically or decision, he has one submission. So yeah, knock you out or win by decision basically. And definitely another example of very tough Russian guys from Russia, 23 run. You know, I'd say all great Russian fighters, and that record seems like maybe the next great Russian fighter potentially if he wins. And you got Graham coming from Georgia, known as the Georgian Viking, another country producing great fighters now. You got Marab, you have Yega, as another Georgian fighter, I forget, who's really good. Now you got Graham, Georgian Viking. He's got 17 KOs and one submission, 4 decisions. This is gonna be a good fight. Not too familiar with these guys, but both guys, I can tell by the record, by the demeanor, they're going to bring it. I don't expect this to be a boring fight at all. I think this is going to be a really compelling fight, and where this fight moves themselves closer to be ranked in this competitive, deep lightweight division.
I agree 100%. They move themselves closer to getting into the ranking, but like I said, I don't have much to say because it's going to be a reintroduction for myself.
Same here. I agree, but I think But I think this is going to be a good fight. And then we can move on to the opening fight, the main card between Julian Marquez and Gregory Rodriguez. Gregory Rodriguez 11-4 and Julian Marquez 9-2. Both middleweights. This is a middleweight fight. And Julian Marquez, I know the name. I'm pretty sure I've seen him fight. I just don't remember his last fight. I know Gregory Rodriguez lost his last fight in split decision on Armin Petrosyan back in the
last time he fought was last time I know you saw Julian Marquez fight. Last person he fought was Sam Alvey, UFC on ABC in April of 2021.
Okay, yeah, I did. That's right. Oh, okay, now I remember. Okay, yeah. I see what you mean.
He beat Sam Alvey because Sam Alvey's been going on a losing streak.
Yeah, it's crazy still in the UFC, but that's another story for another day. But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he defeated Sam Alvey. That's how you remember him.
Okay, before that, he fought on the Gilbert Burns-Usman card, won by submission. So his last two victories, Marquez's, are by submission.
And he beat a very good Maki Pitolo, so he's a serious contender as well.
Yeah,
not contender, but he's a serious professional.
Yes, he's got a victory of Phil Haas too in the U.S. Contender Series, and Phil Haas is the guy that fans are very excited for. And he beat Darren Stewart via submission. It's crazy. His last three victories are all by submission. Julian Marquez. Before that, he had no submission victories. So he's definitely turned to a grappler now. So it wouldn't surprise me if Julian Marquez tried to take Gregory Rodriguez down, try to go for a submission, considering he seems to do well. His last three fights are submission victories.
And Gregory Rodriguez is no slouch. Even though his last loss was against Armin Petrosyan, I thought that was a bit of a back and forth fight. I know Armin Petrosyan definitely got the better of him, but Gregory Rodriguez is no slouch. He's got some power in his hands. He could knock you out. So Julian Marquez has to be careful. Make sure you're not shooting in recklessly, because Rodriguez could put him to sleep.
Yep, you're right about that. Rodriguez is the finisher. 9 of his victories are by finish, whether it be knockout or submission. So I wouldn't surprise me if this fight ends in a finish, because Marquez does have 6 knockouts. So I can see this ending in a first round finish, because both guys seem to be have a high rate of finishing their opponents.
Oh yeah.
I think but I would say this is a good fight to open the main card with 2 finishers. I think this is a good choice by the UFC.
Yeah, this was a great choice. Oh man, I mean, you know what? Never mind. This was a great choice. I'll say that. This was a great choice.
Yeah, and anyone mention the prelims? Because there's
only one fight I want to mention, and just you literally that's the reason why I just made that noise that I made. I thought that the main event of the preliminaries, it could have potentially been a main fight card. Adrian Yanez versus Tony Kelly. Adrian Yanez he's box office striking, man. Yep. Adrian Yanez is so fun to watch as a MMA, as a mixed martial artist. He is just so fun to watch. The grappling defense, he does well enough that he keeps it right on the feet, comfortable to where he wants to be, and right there he's striking with you, and the man's hands are dangerous, lightning fast, and he's so accurate. There was a couple of times where he played with his food and ended up winning. I think the last fight he had a bit more of a struggle, but he won the fight though. I'm excited for Adrian Yanez.
I don't blame you. I'm excited too. Adrian Yanez against Tony Kelly. It's a very good fight for Adrian. Very good fight, especially seeing the prospect of Adrian Yanez, who a lot of people are high on, rightfully so. After you see his fights and after you describe, I mean, there's a reason why he's highly touted, rightfully so. There's a fight in this card. I'm surprised this is the first fight of the prelims. I'm shocked. That's Kyle Dawkins and Roman Dolidze.
No. First fight of the card is Phil Haas versus Darren Wynn.
You sure? I see Kyle Dawkins on this card.
Well, Give me one more. Well, give me one moment.
I'm pretty sure Kyle Dawkins is on this card, unless there's something happening. Unless it's old.
No, he's on the card, but I think they have the orders reversed.
Really? Even I thought he'd be like, you know, like not the main event. No, he's the first fight.
He's the first fight. Well, yeah, that card had. I have two different sets of information, but we'll find out. We'll find out. But yeah, continue with your point.
I'm surprised it's early in the prelims, considering Kyle Dawkins is a really talented fighter. I mean, him and his brother is Chris Dawkins, who's a heavyweight contender, ranked. And, him and his brother are two guys representing like the recent recent rise of Philadelphia MMA with Sean Brady and I forget the other guy's name. He's a grappler too. I forget the other guy's name from Philadelphia who's been doing really well. And Kyle Dawkins come on an impressive submission victory over Jamie Pickett back in February. He got the submission like a second left in the first round. Remember that. And he's a very great grappler too, Kyle Dawkins. All his victories are by submission or decision. He's not knocked out opponent yet. And we've talked about him and not Kyle Dawkins, him and Dawkins and Kevin Holland. How that fight, the accidental head clash in that fight. Yeah, because Kyle Dawkins has fought some good competition. He definitely looks like a guy who could be a contender soon in the middleweight division. But going against a guy in Roman Dozev from Georgia. I think that was the other Georgia fight I was trying to mention earlier. Could be wrong. Who's 9-1, we no slouch either. 9-1, good record. Come on, victory over Moreno Strapoli. Before they suffered his first loss to Trevin Giles, with no shame in that. But, there's a guy in Roman who's got seven finishes of his 9 victories. So, yeah, it should be a very good, compelling fight between two guys at the same level in terms of skill wise. Two very good fighters. Two guys who I think will bring it, and should be a very good opening fight for the UFC in the prelims. Good fight for the fans in Austin. Good fight for us at home to watch, and can't wait to see that fight. Any other fights you want to mention before we wrap the show up?
No, that's it for me. I'm excited for that one fight on the prelims, but I'm tuning in for all of them. I just have, if I'm excited for any one fight on the preliminaries, it's that one right there with Adrian Yanez. But other than that, man, I'm excited for this card. This is a very good card.
Really good card. Very, very good card for the fans of Austin. A very good fight night, and I can't wait to see it. It starts at 4 p.m. Eastern, my bad. 4 p.m. Eastern for the prelims. 1 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. UK, and then, of course, the main card is at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, and midnight in the UK. So definitely, early fight night for those of us living in the United States. Much earlier for the UK fans, so the European fans are probably happy they don't stay up as late to watch this fight card. But yeah, this is a very good fight night. Can't wait to see it. Great main event. A very, very interesting co-main event. A very fun fight with Holland and Joaquin Buckley, two guys who are fan favorites, and a very good main event prelim with rising contender, or prospect rather, Adrian Yanez. Overall, good card. Good card for the UFC to bounce back from the pay-per-view.
Can't wait.
It's exciting, and
in the words of Bart Scott, can't wait.
That's a good one. Is there anything else we want to mention before we end the stream?
There is a bare knuckle fight that's going to happen that surprised me, but now thinking about it, I realize why it's going down. Bare knuckle fighting. It's Michael Venom Page versus Mike Platinum Perry. These two are fighting in bare knuckle fighting on August 20th. When I was talking to the Jedi about this a couple days ago, we both, talked and was like, why would Michael Venom Page do this coming off of a title fight in Bellator where he, if even, the owner of Bellator, all the matchmakers, the higher ups were saying they thought he won the fight. It's just that the judges robbed him. Why would he then go to bare knuckle fighting? And realistically looking at it, man, there hasn't been much Bellator. you notice we're not breaking down Bellator cards right now. Bellator is taking a bit of an intermission, and Michael Venom Page is a fighter. He needs to feed his family, and the way he feeds his family is by fighting. He's of course not gonna get a contract with the UFC right now. That would be too much of a conflict of interest. So where he can get it is where he can get it. That being said, I'm a little excited for this one.
I am
Both
too,
of these guys they're not grapplers. Neither of them are grapplers. They're coming in there to strike.
Yes, both guys are strikers. Obviously, bare knuckles, not a lot of grappling, except for clinch work. And I was kind of surprised that I saw this, considering MVP, like you said, is coming up with a title fight, but he didn't take that much damage at all. Like I said, Bellator, there's not a lot of Bellator right now. There won't be a Bellator event until June 24th. So Bellator took like over a month off. So obviously he got paid bills and finds how he pays bills. And plus he's always saying you want to do boxing, kickboxing, and stand up striking along with MMA. His chance to do it, to fight bare knuckle against Mike Perry in London too, which is also another thing. First time bare knuckle is going to England outside the United States, so that's a big deal. Having a guy get MVP could definitely get a lot of people to watch. To watch in England, but also come to the arena as well. And this should be a fun fight. Both strikers. MVP is a very creative striker. I like to see him in a stand-up only. I like to see how he does in a stand-up fight. I think he'll do very well, obviously, because he's very good. He's better than most guys standing up. And Mike Perry is a dog, always brings it. This should be a very exciting bare knuckle fight in August in London.
Yep, I'm excited for it. I don't have a dog in this fight either. I'm just excited to see it. But if you honestly ask me, I think MVP could win this one. He's got more length and he's more accurate and more creative striker.
Totally agree. I 100% agree with everything you just said. I think he's a more active, creative striker, better striker overall than Mike Perry. So I got MVP. But I look forward to watching it in August. And I don't say that often for bare knuckle, so that says a lot. Also, speaking of August, I do want to mention this quickly before we end the show. Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards official for August 27th, I believe, in Salt Lake City, Utah, for the pay-per-view over there in August. Usman's back. Yeah. And as we close to that fight, we'll break down that fight. But I favor Usman early on. But like I said, we'll talk more about it as we get there.
Most definitely.
Anything else you want to say before we end the show?
Just want to say thank you guys so much for joining us, whether that be on the YouTube platform or in the podcast platform. Once again, thank you guys so much for joining us and making this fun. And we love breaking down the UFC, not just the UFC, MMA period. Wish we could break down boxing, but they make it difficult to get access to their clips and whatnot. So we don't even do that over here no more. Sucks, but doesn't. It is what it is. Let's get on with the fights that do happen, right?
Yes, exactly. As for me, thank you guys for listening, watching us, wherever you're watching us, listening to us. We appreciate the love and support. Thank you guys for spending your couple hours with us, listening to us break down these fights and talk about these fights. We appreciate the love and support, all of us. And look forward to the next week, breaking down what happens in Austin, Texas. Also breaking down the next UFC card as well. As UFC is moving in motion throughout the summer, a lot of events in the summer, and it looks like it's gonna be a very fun summer for the UFC. I can't wait. I look forward to it. We appreciate love, support. We appreciate all you guys. Whether you comment or don't comment, we appreciate you. Especially those who are subscribed or those who just watch, we appreciate it. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and we'll see you guys next week. I'm Austin, Chef Dan. Have a good night, good day, peace, and stay safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are